Hi everyone, you're the right place. Anthony, I think, had a technical issue. Okay, he's joining us again. Hi again, Anthony.
Sorry, I think I accidentally kicked myself out of the meeting. And then it was in the survey. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. We can crop this out of the recording. Okay, good. Are we good to go? Okay. Well, welcome everybody. This is the second year of the future of urban AI. As we explained last week, we're focusing on the shift from big urban data to generative AI. We've got 8 conversations planned running through November 22nd. You can see the schedule here, also on the Eventbrite link that we'll share at the end. We're on number 10 here, the 10th in the series. And again, what we're trying to do here is take an exploration, a journey through the Future of Urban Tech Forecast that was published by my group, the Jacobs Urban Tech Hub at Cornell Tech, back in 2021, and to try to take a deeper dive on the innovations and trends in that space where AI is really playing a pivotal role in driving us forward. Last week, we had a great event with Damiano Cerrone of Urbanist AI. We had a little bit of a problem with the Eventbrite reminders, so not all of you may have been aware that that was going on, even though you had registered for it. You can catch up on YouTube. This tiny URL, Future of Urban AI-S2E9 will take you straight there, or you can go to the Urban AI YouTube channel and find it in the Future of Urban AI playlist. This week, we're really excited to take the next step, looking into the trend in the future of urban tech forecast that we call Trustworthy Cartography. And we're going to be welcoming Alexander Kamenev, who is the CEO of iknow.world. So Alex, I will turn it over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. I would like to share my presentation. So, once again, thanks a lot for having me today. My name is Alexander, and I am an architect, and I'm also a CEO at iknow.world, and that GIS platforms that helps urban design teams to create interactive maps. And we also implement AI solutions trying to solve the problem that almost every urban designer have working with spatial data. And how it works, I'm going to explain you, I think, in 15-20 minutes. That's not actually a kind of research or something. That's my subjective opinion. So feel free to ask me any questions, because I think we are just in the beginning on the really, really big trip to AI implementation and spatial analysis. So few words about myself is that I was working in urban consultancy for 7 years, and I was a founder of AI for City Lab. We work a lot with spatial data in different scales. We design and develop our system for analyzing satellite images. We work a lot with citizen behavior using natural language processing and topic modeling algorithms. And we also work in larger scales, trying to understand how cities relate to each other. But the result of our whole work always were maps. And that was okay for us as a data science team. But when we talk with the urban designers, they always struggled in map creation. And that's actually, it is because of this. We all know that GIS platforms are quite complicated. And today we live in a world of Miro, Notion, Zoom, and other B2B SaaS solutions that help us to make our work easy and faster, but not in GIS field, actually. And that's why we decided to start our own startup that named INA, that helps urban design teams to turn spatial data into interactive maps easily. And AI took a first place in our technological stack, in our application, because of few reasons, in my personal opinion. And that's somehow pretty interesting. The first one, no one wants to be an architect and urban planners anymore. If you look through your LinkedIn network, you can define that there are a lot of kind of professions right now. Environmental designers, ecological architects, natural resources managers, and a lot of new kind of professions, and a lot of people who have to work with urban data. They have to work with space we live, but honestly, most of them do not know how to figure out their how to work with spatial data. And that's an interesting trend. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that something happened in this field. And the next one is computer vision development. We actually forgot about it because of large language model hype. When ChatGPT appeared, we forgot about such kind of AI track. But in a few years, the new models appeared, like segment everything from Meta, and they actually have a really, really great accuracy to work with satellite images. And that give us a huge amount of new data that we can use in our spatial design projects. And I will say a few words about it a little bit later. And the last trend also, that's conversational interfaces. Many people really hate chatbots, and that's true. But today, that's unreal to imagine that modern solution can live without some kind of prompt engineering inside. So this conversational interface provide a really great flexibility for users, and also quite easy onboarding for the new users. And that's unreal to design something new, some new tools without such kind of communication between your users. And that's why we develop our own technology that's named text-to-map. And this actually solves pretty simple task that extract the data from third-party API, and it map on your mapping in our interface. So because we know that is the biggest problem for urban designers somehow is to find the relevant data and just to map it. And that's why they usually work with GIS engineers, even for solving like a simple task. And that's why we design, and that's why we develop a text-to-map algorithm because that's a complicated model, but this consists actually of a few parts, 3 of them, doesn't matter, actually. User can input what they want to find. Our algorithm tokenize it, then create a JSON, and then it map right into their interface. Nothing specific in this point. But we also understand that GIS and spatial design, spatial analysis, that's really complicated thing. And today we just in the first step, like data gathering. We also know how to take some data from data sources and to map it easily into a user's project map. But that's already help design teams to enter their urban design projects. If you work in scales, in city scales, in such kind of work like form-based code, design code, or street development standards, some regulation projects. One of the tasks you have to solve is to create a street typology for the urban environment, and AI can help you with it. You just need to input what you want to get, and AI assistant can help you and to draw a beautiful map easily. It also helps for teams who work with the context analysis, and for geo-marketing teams when you need to understand what's happening around a specific location. You can ask AI to help you. It understands actually what does it mean around, what around means, and where it's happening. So you can get like locations around your area. It works not only with the pins or specific locations, it works with a different geometry. For instance, polygons, multi-polygons, lines, etc. So for space analysis, that can work as well. It understands that what 10 minutes walk means. And also, AI can help you when you work in specific areas into one city. AI can crop the information. Just depends on your prompt. And this is just the first step we have right now, but also GIS analysis, it's far away from it. And the other thing we are developing now is it's opposite to prompt search, is AI mask tool. So when you have when you want to understand what's happening around your specific location or territory, you can draw it right in the map and then ask AI to calculate something or to define something, what's happening inside or around it. That's a great feature, I think, and we will develop it in a few weeks. And the last task that we are working right now, we just started on, is actually map design. We all understand that it's not fancy when you ask AI to find some location, to find some I don't know, bathtubs somewhere, and but when you have a beautiful maps, even they mean nothing, that's gonna be hype, because everyone like beautiful maps, well designed, and that's actually an important part of the whole of every design project when you have to design map, and we know that it's possible to do with AI assistant as well, and this is our next step to do it for our users. But already, why this is already important? Why AI assistant is good for spatial design projects? Because of its complexity, AI help people to be people. AI foster team collaboration. I mean that we can break this traditional data pipeline when engineer is sending something to architect connects with designer, and is repeat every day, every time when you need like even small updates for your data on your map. AI gives our users an opportunity to work together in the same projects, like we usually do in, for instance, in Miro boards, because anytime you want a new data, or if you need to understand something more about the space, you can just ask AI for help. And at least but not last, the thing that I think it's really important to understand, that today we live in some kind of calm data revolution. And there's a great sign for all GIS experts and for GIS tools, because something weird happening. Great, really big companies like Meta, TomTom, and few more unite to create their own spatial data sets that names Overture Maps Foundation. And they created free-to-use libraries with more than 75 million of points of interest that everyone can use. I think they wanted to break the monopoly of Google Maps, but I don't know why. That's interesting. And what else? As I said before, computer vision tools like Segment Everything can give us a huge amount of new data. And Microsoft already published some data sets with more than 1.2 billion of buildings footprints that they got from satellite images analysis. And so what does it mean? It means that in one day, so it means that now is the best time for GIS people to make the next step. And I think one of this company would like to design and to develop a global space generative search engine, because the task is quite obvious to understand better the world we live. And that's going to be work like Google search is working right now on their generative search engine. So I think, yeah, now, anyway, so the best time for us to work on spatial design and to try something new with the AI for spatial data. I'm done with my presentation. If you have any questions, please ask. And also there's a QR code for our landing page. You can get more information about our product there. And I'm pretty open to discuss something else. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Alexander. I think we already have a number of questions in the chat. So I'm going to start at the top with Uber's question, which I also had. Can you tell us a little bit more about the AI that you're drawing upon to power this chat interface? Is it something you've built and trained? Is it something built on top of one of the foundation models like ChatGPT? How are you approaching that?
Yeah, that's a good question, because the bottom line that it's based on large language models. And it doesn't matter what model do you really want to use, because today large language model is already a commodity for all of us. So you can take ChatGPT-4, you can take Llama or something else, and try to build your product over it. That's fine. And we actually use ChatGPT-4 right now, and it's the biggest problem for us and biggest challenge is how to fine-tune it right, because we generate JSON files, and we need to have a pairs between the input and JSON files. And that's a quite complicated task. That's not like a data set of pictures that we can just parse somewhere. Yeah, that's the biggest problem for us. And we actually failed a few times when we presented our AI solutions a few months ago, and when it worked surprisingly unstable, extremely, because it can find more than 10,000 bus stops in London easily, but in 5 minutes it just can show 9 of them. So it works unpredictably, but now we fixed it, and we fixed it not only in data science way, but also in prompt engineering as well. Yeah, you can try. It's interesting to try different models. Yeah, that's interesting to try different models, not only ChatGPT. Yeah.
And following up on that, there was a question just in from Junling Shuang, who asked if it was a few-shot text-to-SQL model.
Where is the question?
It's right at the end there.
Not really. Not really. It's not text to SQL model, but we are really impressed with this technology. And maybe you know there is a really great startup named defog.ai. They're part of Y Combinator, and they solve such kind of problem when you can ask whatever you want, and it transforms the text into SQL queries that send to your database and help you to ask any questions. That's great. For us, we not generate SQL query, but that's also a solution if we can work with like enterprises with a lot of data, not only open source data. So that's going to be a solution as well. Yeah.
So that was there were a couple of questions around the data that you use. Busra asks, where does I get the data from? Is it from OpenStreetMap? And then there's another question about comparing sources of data, for example, OpenStreetMap or from satellite and aerial photos. And I had a question of whether users can upload their own data.
Right now we work only with OpenStreetMap data that covers actually 80% of all urban planners' needs, and we try to be more specific on urban planning sphere right now. So for us, that's enough. But as I said, you can try to work with those data sets that I have on my slides right here with the overture maps with a lot of points of interest. And I already seen some startups who worked with the same solution for geomarketing. For instance, building a local intelligence platform based on this data sets, not OpenStreetMap. But we are right now just focusing on OpenStreetMap. That's first, it's enough. But you also can upload, but you also can upload any data that you want. So if you need to crop your data or to compare it with OpenStreetMap or to design to change it that's possible. That's must have actually. That's like collaborative features that every application has to have right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that leads into the next set of questions, which are really about what are the compelling use cases that you see emerging, or case studies, of users that have put it to productive use. And there was a specific question from Shmuel Yerushalmi about using cartography-based AI technologies to support, resolving problems of poverty and social inequality in cities and urban spaces. So if you're seeing any applications or uses in that area.
The last question is pretty complicated for me to answer it, I think so. But the first one is, the first was about...
how are people using this?
Okay.
You could explain where you are.
Easily, yeah.
Rollout.
Our application is solving one simple question. When you are not data scientist, when you are not GIS expert, when you are part of the design team, you are an architect, you have to find the relevant data and to map it easily. You just need to input what you want and do not care about the transfer between shape files from GIS tools and somewhere else. You just can input what you want and to get it right in your map. And that's easy, and that's pretty interesting to look how AI solves more complicated challenges, like to find not the all bike lanes in Barcelona, but to return only in some specific area, or in 5-minute walks around one area, or something like this. So it helps you to find the relevant data, and that was not actually our first idea to build this product. we were building actually Miro on the map. For a few months, we were building Miro on the map, trying to help people to collaborate on spatial design. But when we talk with a lot of people who are like urban planners and designers, we understood that the main problem right now is just to find relevant data and to map it. That surprised us somehow, but that's why we decided to work on text-to-map solution.
Great. I think there's a bunch of questions about the
really good question, actually. You are not architects, right? You are somehow of data analysts and data engineers, I think so.
Yeah, so I think there's a bunch of questions around the spatial analysis functions of it, like beyond just creating static or even thematic maps. You know, you've alluded to and showed some slides of drawing radius and calculating densities and things like that. Like how many steps, and like what's the work that needs to be done to be able to make those like much more complex, nuanced kinds of spatial analysis accessible via a chat interface?
To build, we named it spatial indexes somehow. So we wanted to make our solution to understand the context, to understand the space around like specific area. Yeah, there are a few challenges that we face right now. Many of them, some of them are in field of natural language processing, like semantic summarization. That's a big problem because we want to make our algorithm to analyze when the users need like a specific type of streets, rather than they need the whole streets, including pedestrian streets or whatever. So we need to provide this semantic summarization to make our algorithm more intelligent. And that is out of ChatGPT functionality right now. And we already developed like a mask tool that you can use to crop any information that you have, to crop data that you have in the map. And this is our first step to make this user experience when you can just draw something in the map and ask AI to explain how it works. For sure, OpenStreetMap is not enough for these tasks, and we actually quite, as we call it, horizontal platform. So we are ready to work with different experts, with different companies who can provide their data for us, and our users can just to knock to their doors and ask for their data, to their data, and to using our prompt solution. I cannot answer you when we will be ready to explain how the world is, how the world works. But we just, I think we're just in the beginning of this. Was it clear? No?
Yes, that was clear. And I think Uber had a related question, which was, what's the goal here? Is this about replacing or augmenting GIS expertise, or some other, really getting to kind of like how this is going to affect the work of people in the profession and organizations?
I think that's unreal. I never ever seen AI solutions that replaced somebody. So we think that AI helps people to stay people and to collaborate more effectively with each other. And I know personally that GIS engineers, they don't really like some kind of silly questions from urban planners, architects, and designers when they want to have a map with 10 locations of a bus stops. That's not actually what GIS people have to work on. So I think there are a lot of opportunities for GIS experts to work with a new huge data set that I mentioned, and also that makes easier for architects to work with spatial data. And what's also interesting that such kind of solutions are good for businesses, because GIS expertise is quite expensive because people spend 5 years, I don't know how many, okay, for 5 years to be an expert in spatial analysis. And the other tools, GIS tools, cost a lot of money. But when you use it just to create maps with the bus stops and bike lines, that looks like it's overkill for everyone. So
there was another question from Luis Stamdesens about how this might be useful for city councils. How would the solution help them?
It depends on what actually city councils do. As I know, they have to create maps and they have to engage people in decision making. We were working on it a lot before. I think that anyway, this just easy to use tool for map creation. I think that's gonna be enough for city council in their everyday routine. I don't know. Maybe city council works on something pretty complicated that I don't understand in these terms. But yeah, as I know, they just need to create a lot of maps and to build like a narratives and tell stories inside of it. And I think that's part of ways beyond the AI solutions. But if you have AI, you're gonna have more time to think about your content and think about your your storytelling. So I think that's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I see this as much more empowering for like community activists, community groups, residents, although it also, because it's putting something in their hands that they haven't really had yet. But it also brings up the question of like, interpreting and like that. It reminds me of that famous book by Marc Monmonier, How to Lie with Maps. And, there's a lot of skills about how you present spatial data and how you interpret it and communicate it that I think isn't going to put the job of the cartographer out of business anytime soon. There's a great question from Yuki M about, how you secure data, user data that's been uploaded. So if they're uploading sensitive or PII data, are you retaining it? Are there safeguards? Are you, how are you approaching that?
And that's actually a great question because when we started to talk with our prospects or possible clients, that's the first question they ask us about it. And this question was beyond the AI. That's there's a question about how actually the whole system works, how our application works. Right now, we work only with open source data, but we protect private data and any uploaded data, and it has in like every SaaS solution has to do. But what's also interesting, we decided that our application, we don't really want to download and to storage any kind of data from open source. So we decided that our way is to turn natural language query into the API request and get like data every time when our users need. So if you have more specific questions about how our privacy works, I can link you with our CTO. He's going to explain you everything. Yeah.
So I'm connecting that question back to AI. I know there's been a lot of confusion and controversy around companies using private customer data to fine tune and train models. I'm curious, like, is that something that's come up in your discussions with some of your clients who want to store or use their own private data that might potentially like help you improve your models?
That's a good question. Yeah, finally, yeah, I got it. But I think this approach is not working at all. To fine-tune any model, you need a huge amount of data. And the client's data, that's, it's not enough. It's it's more expensive for us to even try to use this data to fine-tune something. We need a different approach. We need a huge data sets and somehow to use a synthetic data, to use a specific new types of neural networks. They can turn the small amount of data into a huge batch. I forget this word. Augmentation. Yeah. We need somehow to augment an existing data in the huge data sets, but that is not working for clients' data at all. I think so.
Right. Are there any other questions on people's minds? Feel free to share them in the chat, or if you're willing, we can bring you on screen to ask your questions. Maybe we'll start doing that going forward. It'd be nice to make this a little more interactive.
Ooh.
Okay. If not, I will note that. Oh, sorry, my phone is ringing. We will be shifting. First of all, let me thank Alexander for a fascinating presentation.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
We will be back again next week, turning from 2 weeks of looking at the world of software and data to the world of robotics, and welcoming Taras Wankowitz, who's the founder and CEO of H3 Dynamics. You can either use the semicode at the bottom, the short URL, or the long URL that Hubert has posted in the chat to register for that. And we will welcome you at the same time next Wednesday. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot.